I'm Scott Allen Miller. It's the 31st of December 2023. It is the final day of the year. This is my vlog of daily life living in Leon, Nicaragua. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the traditions and customs of New Year's here in Western Nicaragua, specifically in the Barrio of Sutiava. We're going to show you some of the footage from our night out and some of the interesting cultural things that we did tonight and other things that were going on in the area. Let you know a little bit about that and how you could celebrate here at the end of the year. We're looking forward to a really exciting show coming up in 2024. I can't wait to get to the content for that. But first, we're going to hit the bump, and then we're going to get into what went on New Year's here in Nicaragua. It's hard to believe that 2023 has finally come to a close. It's the last day of the year. This year has, I don't want to say flown by. It's not necessarily that it's been so fast, but it's been so many things have happened during this year. It's hard to really comprehend 2023 as a single entity. It's been pretty incredible. I spent a bit of time traveling in South America. My wife spent a bit of time traveling in Southeast Asia. We did not go to the US for any time during this year, which is the first time we've done an entire year entirely away. That was definitely really surprising for us. We live full-time in Nicaragua, but we normally go home and visit at some point. We just didn't get that chance this year. So that's been very different for us. Just a lot of things going on, a lot of things here in Nicaragua, a lot of things in our lives. And it's been a good but interesting year, and definitely it has flown to quite some degree. Of course, my kids are getting older and are now 12 and 15. We had my daughter's quince in 2023. A lot of big stuff. Before I get into exactly what we're going to cover about the cultural activities here in Nicaragua for New Year's, or for Nuevo Año as it is known, I was doing dishes in the sink this morning, and at one point, this is a few weeks ago, our housekeeper was cleaning the dishes and ended up with a tarantula on her. And today, my wife, we have a lot of dishes because we did a bunch of food yesterday, and my wife's like, I'm really worried about doing dishes because of the tarantula situation. So I'm like, yeah, I got this. So I was doing the dishes, and I did not see a tarantula, but I did have a frog jump out of the sink while I was doing that. Now, I don't have footage of that particular frog, but I do have footage of Slinky, our tree frog, who lives in the bathroom. This is in our front bathroom, the one by my office, and he's been there for a month or two. This is pretty funny that we have a tree frog that lives in our bathroom and never seems to leave. I don't know where he goes all the time. Sometimes he's high in the walls and jumps over your head. Sometimes a lot of the time he's on the sink and just hides underneath like the soap dispenser or something. Sometimes he's hanging out in places you can see. He watches you, he scurries away. It's very funny that we have this tiny little tree frog living in our bathroom, but we do, and that's one of the things we don't mind in the house. Obviously, frogs and the geckos, they are the perfect things to have around the house because they eat things you don't want in the house, and they're perfectly safe, and they're friendly, and they can't even bite you. And even the tarantulas aren't a problem. No one really wants to encounter a tarantula in their house, but they're not something you have to worry about. And I've managed to mostly scurry them out of the house. We've also had a couple whip scorpions. Again, something that can't hurt you, not bad, but I've encountered a few, and we've managed to kill none of those, right? 100% survival rate on the whip scorpions, which is exactly what you want. They're very, very good and completely harmless. And you do actually want them in your house, but you want them in places you don't run into them because they're super creepy. So I've only seen a few of them. I'm now up to, I believe, 4 in the entire time we've been here. 1 in the hotel in our very first couple months, and our friend Itzhak came and got it and carried it out. He's like, you can't hurt these things, they're really, really good. And I'm like, I'm terrified of it, right? And then I encountered one in our kitchen and just when he ran away. And then one I managed to convince to leave my office last week, and then just the other day, one went into our bathroom, and that one I put a bunch of time into convincing to leave the house, and eventually I just lost him, so he may not have left. But he's not where I can see him, and honestly, that's enough for me. So, because I know he can't hurt me, right? So if I don't know he's there, good. But there are a lot of things in the house. I don't know what it is that this season has suddenly, we've never had this before. right? And all the time we've been here, it's been like, 6 months and one thing in the house. And now recently it's been a ton. I have no idea what's changed that is driving so many different things that we haven't normally seen. Snakes and tarantulas. Like, we made it a year without seeing a tarantula, and now we're seeing them constantly. I do realize that it's the mating season, and so there's a time when they come out, but we didn't see them at all last year, so it's very different. Same thing with the snakes. We went from 0 to 2. I mean, it's not very many, but still, and no frogs to a few very quickly. We have had toads in the house that we have to be careful of because they're dangerous here. They're cane toads, they are invasive, and they're super dangerous to your animals. So be aware if you're going to have animals down here, you have to be diligent about the toads. They are invasive, so a lot of people are going to kill them. That's terrible. I hate having to kill a toad, but they are super dangerous, and every toad could represent a lot of dead cats and dogs. So it may be something you have to deal with. If you're not going to kill it, you really have to make sure it's being relocated to a place where there's no other animals around, which is very hard to do, and they're big. They can travel a long way, so you got to be, it can be a rough situation. They are invasive and causing a lot of problems here. For New Year's celebrations, today we mostly had a very quiet day. It's a day off from work. It's Sunday, so we had a lot of time to just chill, and I hung out with the kids some. I worked on getting one of the Nancy Drew games moved over to a different computer so we could keep playing. That's been one that's been hanging us up for a while just because we didn't have like good access to where we wanted to play it. So I worked on some of that stuff, did a bunch of video work today. It was a good day and very relaxed. Originally, Marcella was going to hang out with us today and go to this big party going on at the beach at El Simple and another one at Caracalito. So she wanted to go and bounce between those, but her mother fell and injured her arm, and so she went back to Managua to help take care of her so she can get to go do that stuff. Dominica did a huge finger food, we called it, day. So she spent this morning, she got up and had to bake buns for the restaurant because they don't have the bakery set up there yet. That is actually scheduled for Tuesday, coming up on the 2nd. She's going to be going out to the beach and training new bakery staff on the newly built, it's a temporary but a newly built bakery on the beach. We're very excited but apprehensive as we attempt to train and create a bakery system out on the beach. There's a lot of challenges to that, both in finding people who know how to bake and finding processes that work under the very humid, salty air that you get on the beach. So it's a difficult process, but having a bakery on the beach is a big deal because the restaurants really need quality bread, and it's very difficult to get. We can drive into Leon and get some decent bread, but it's a good distance, and it makes it very complicated because good bread you want to have same day, and bringing in runs from Leon every day just for bread can be complicated. If there was a run for something else, it's fine, but being able to do it reliably is very hard. So that's a big thing we have going on. We got new ovens and mixers and everything, and so it's very cool. That has been in the works for some time and is going on. But so this morning, until that is up and running, we are doing the baking here in the house, and Dominica is handling all of that herself. So she got up this morning and did the baking, as she does every day or two. Saeed came in and picked up all the food and drove it out. So that's the morning. Then she took a little bit of a break, and then she did all this finger food baking, and just for us. We had no one coming over, which was very nice. It was a great time to just hang out with the kids and be relaxed, and we spent a bunch of time as a family. And so we had a really nice day. And originally we were going to go out to one of the events tonight, and we kind of decided to hold off on that until pretty late. So at about 10:45, we left the kids with the dogs, and we just went out to our friend's house here in Barrio of Sutiava and went and did a big family event with them. It was just the family and us, but a big family and us, and hung out in the barrio and did a big outdoor barbecue and had bits of food and drinks and hung out with a lot of friends there. It was really nice, and we got to be a part of their family fireworks thing. So this is where we get into a little bit of what goes on here in Nicaragua for New Year's. Now, of course, there's normal parties everywhere. So at El Simple tonight was just a big normal party. It had over 100 people just jammed in, and like a DJ and dancing and fireworks and all the stuff you kind of picture anywhere for New Year's Eve. Just a big wild party. Here in the barrio, what is traditional is setting off fireworks all throughout the evening. Of course, that should pretty much go without saying, but it's relatively minor. There's just a little bit here and there until it becomes midnight, which you would expect. Then at midnight, it is absolutely insane. Fireworks everywhere, fireworks in the sky, fireworks on the ground, just fireworks everywhere. But two things are really special. Now, one thing that's done almost everywhere is the burning of the old man. You're not going to believe what this is, but they actually take these full-size, almost mannequins, but they're made kind of like paper mache. They have some of them sitting in the middle of the street in Sutiava, in like downtown, but we're out way in the barrio. We're actually in the Reparto Veracruz, technically, and they put this in the street, and this old man, or El Viejo, represents the year 2023, in this case, the year that is past, and they fill this effigy full of fireworks, and they cover them in gasoline, and they set them on fire, and they burn and explode in the middle of the street. It's kind of crazy, and you're supposed to put all your mistakes and your stress and your errors and things of the last year, all the weight of former times, into the effigy as it blows up and burns away, and you celebrate the new year renewed. That is an interesting thing, and they do it all over the place. Like, you can see it in the middle of the city, you can see it out in the neighborhoods, and we saw it in the middle of a very small street in Veracruz. The other thing that is done, and this is absolutely the most wild, and it's hard to describe, and there's no way to do it justice, and I have shown it before, but very little. And I tried making a short of this, and YouTube banned it, more or less. They didn't actually ban it, but they might as well have. They made it that no one can find it, even if you're looking for it. So it's there if I like link you to it, but it's this footage. And they were okay with me putting all the footage long format on YouTube. Just when I edited it into a short, they got weird about it. So I have no idea. Hopefully we have no problems on today's episode. But this is, there's a word for it in Spanish, but it's the bull on fire. And this is a cultural heritage thing handed down from the Spanish times. The Spanish have long had the running of the bulls, this kind of celebrating bravery by having the bulls run through the street and people run away from it, and the bulls try to catch you and you try not to get caught, and it's pretty silly, but that's a big thing in Spain. Like, it's done all over the country, and it has been handed down through the colonial mechanism to many of the Latin American countries, and Nicaragua is no exception. The way that it has been interpreted over time here is that instead of having an actual bull, we have an effigy of a bull made out of wood. So this is basically kind of like a wooden manger turned upside down that someone holds on their head. It has some legs attached to it, which are less to represent the legs of the bull and more to give you a way to sit it down and hold on to it, but it serves another purpose as well. They kind of make it shaped like a bull, sort of, but it's really minor. They load the thing up with fireworks. Now, I first saw this a couple years ago when we were in Rio, and I could not believe it. I saw kids running to do this, and I don't think it was on New Year's. Maybe it was. And so I got a real quick video of it a couple years ago and showed that, and no one could believe that that's really what it was, but I didn't get the best video. Tonight, I got much better video, and they actually did this twice. We got to see them set it up, load up all the fireworks, then someone goes out, puts it on their head, and goes out into the street, and they light it after minutes. This is after doing the effigy of the old man burning in the street, and they light these fireworks, and people gather as close as they dare, and to some degree it's just like little fireworks flying up in the air, and then suddenly these whirling, directionless rockets start going off and could hit anybody, anywhere, at any time. Some fly way up in the air, go over buildings, some land on roofs, some go into yards, some go in the street, some whack into people. It's kind of nuts. One of the people we were with, as they were lighting it, had it blow up and hit them right in the face even before they could start to stand back. It's really dangerous. The person holding the bull on their head is pretty much safe because they're basically holding armor, but everyone else, no matter where you are, it could hit you. And it was really lucky because some came really close to me as I was filming, and I got trapped in some spots as I tried to film. But it's really interesting and neat to watch, and it's kind of fun, but it's definitely on the unnerving side. Now, my wife said I was being very brave going out and standing really close on the street and filming. I'm like holding out the camera, and the whole time I was thinking I was being really nervous and diving away, although a number of times I did get caught and was the closest person to the bull. And let me tell you, it gets a little bit worrisome. I did try to stand behind a tree, but the tree was about this big around, so if it came straight at me, I'd get a little bit of deflection, but I was trying to film, so it was going to hit me. But I did really well. I had one fly right over my head. I didn't flinch. I managed not to fall over. I managed to actually stay pretty close and get quite a bit of footage. It turned out great. It was all shot on the iPhone 13 mini, which does a pretty good job of this type of thing. And we just had a really nice night. We were actually out until about 2. I came home, put in a little bit of time hanging out with the kids. We played a little bit of Nancy Drew, but not that much. And and called it a night. So that was our New Year's, and that's what they do here in Nicaragua. The whole bowl thing is hard to find. You're not going to find that just anywhere. I've done pretty well running across it a few times now. I'm told it's not done that commonly, but it is a traditional thing here. If you get a chance to see it, you certainly want to stay far away. It truly is dangerous. I would not recommend getting anywhere close like I did. If you see kids running towards it, don't do what they're doing. They're, one, know what they're doing, and two, know how foolish it is and get hurt all the time. We had adults get hit in the face. Everybody was really worried, like, and we had some older folks who were there, and they were holding plastic chairs over their heads, which if you get hit in the leg, you're not going to get that hurt. Might burn a little bit, but you get hit in the face, you can do quite some damage. And if you don't wear glasses like me, then you really need to be careful. It was still very dangerous for me, but I had a camera, it's just the iPhone in front of me. My hands were out because of the camera, and I have glasses, and I was trying not to get into really stupid spots and being very alert. And I knew I was in a bit of danger, and just willing to do that to bring this amazing content to you guys. But if you do get a chance to see it, watch it safely from a distance, maybe out of a window or something. That's the way to go. But even in buildings, be aware, it can land on roofs and all kinds of things. It can be quite dangerous there as well. But that was the end of our year celebration. Thank you for joining me for all of 2023. And for those of you who've been around even longer, 2022 and before, we managed to cross the 6,000 subscriber mark before the end of the year. We actually did it several days ago, and that's amazing. There's so many of you who are along for this daily journey of exploring Latin America and my life in Nicaragua, and just all the content that we do here, which is a little bit unpredictable. And it's been really great for me. It means so much to me, everyone being here. 2023 was a great year, and I'm very excited about the coming year. New cameras, new adventures. I plan on getting out. Part of my New Year's resolution is going to be, a lot more Spanish. I do speak Spanish. For those who are not aware, I do speak Spanish, but my accent is terrible, and I could speak much better. I'm going to be ramping that up a lot in this year. 2024 is going to be my year of Spanish, and I believe my children as well. They're going to be taking not in-person lessons, but they're going to be going through the service that we have for online conversational Spanish with EV Spanish. They're going to be doing that, hopefully not every day, but a few times a week, to really help them get comfortable with speaking, and I'm planning on doing that as well. I'm really going to hit the Duolingo hard. I want to get through possibly, if not all of, but at least a really good chunk of Duolingo Spanish this year. I'm going to dedicate quite a bit more time to that than I have in the past year. I've got an amazing streak, but it's not that much density of working on it. And every time I do it, I can feel myself getting stronger in Spanish, and that encourages me a lot. But I want to advance faster than I am, so that's one of the things I'm going to be doing a lot this year. My other resolution is for the show, getting out and getting to a lot more locations for all of you. I did have a broken foot that happened midway through 2022, and so I had some travel I had to do. I've had the broken foot for a lot of the year, and I've been sick a bit, and that combination of things just made it really hard to get out and do a lot of filming away from Leon. I apologize that we have had to do so many here. At least this is a great location for my talking head material, but there's so much of the country and other countries that we want to bring you in 2024. I'm going to be working very hard to get out and spend more time out and about again for all of you. So have a happy new year. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you'd like to support the show and help make this material possible to bring to you, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Scott Allen Miller. That link will be in the description below and on the screen and any place you want to find it. And it's easy to hop over to that page, just my name, buymeacoffee.com/Scott Allen Miller. And as always, share this show on social media. Tell someone about the show. Help get some interest out there. And I look so forward to all the adventures that we're going to go on together in 2024 and beyond. And I will see all of you next year.